You say we're rolling, right?
Yeah, let's do
All
it.
right, then let's pop it.
Let's do it. Welcome to the InnerChild Podcast, where we have authentic conversations about growth, childhood, and passion. I'm JB, and this is my partner OD. Episode 3 today. We are having a great conversation today around knowing yourself.
Yeah.
So a different topic from the other episodes. So let's get right into it. So OD, talk to me about growing up and break down for me understanding when you were in your adolescence, things that you didn't like, and how'd you decipher like that you didn't like those things growing up?
I mean, that's a loaded question for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah.
To
Right
definitely,
into it.
yeah,
Yeah,
to
yeah.
definitely start off, we got right into it. Growing up, how did I figure out what I liked and I didn't like? I mean, it wasn't. I don't think it was easy
Hmm.
for me. Um, Only because I just had my eyes in just various areas, right? As a kid, I like to draw, but then I was also like super energetic. And then in that same aspect, I was always trying to find a way to, do what was right to please parents. Always having like a specific interest in certain fields and certain spaces that didn't align with what my mom or my dad liked. It was a battle at first, but I'm just thinking about like when I was like a kid.
Hmm.
Probably in my teenage years, I definitely started like growing into my own space, doing my own thing. But as a kid, for sure, uh, definitely battled trying to figure out, what my exact interests were because like I said, I was a lot of things. I like to do a lot of things, but I don't think I really figured out what my niche was until I got into like, my teenage years.
But what about as far as like activities? What did you like? You know what I'm saying? Like talk about
Yeah, I mean for
those
me,
things.
I definitely I talked about drawing.
Hmm.
I used to love like Dragon Ball Z,
Oh, so
Pokemon.
you were
I swear to God,
you were
I used to draw.
anime.
Yeah, I
You
used
were
to.
into the
I'm a big
anime.
anime kid. I used
Okay,
to
okay.
draw Goku. I used to
Yeah.
draw a whole bunch of stuff, and I was actually, not too bad at it.
Hmm.
But then being an energetic kid, like always interested in sports too. So I played basketball, went the football route. I was always like on the block, just kicking it, with the younger kids, just literally finding whatever sport I could possibly find to kind of just like figure out what my interests were.
Yeah, I think the interesting part about specifically let's say middle school and down, so like elementary middle school time frame, is when you grow up in the household, right? And your household does certain activities or does certain things one way, right? And you think that might be the only way, right? And
Right.
then you go out into the world, you go to school, you go to, whether you're in, boys and girls club, whatever like after school program you go to or whatever other programs or organizations you were a part of, and you see how other kids operate or how other kids do things, and it could be one or two things. Like as a kid, in my mind, it was, why can't I do that? You know what I mean? Or
Right.
why can't my parents get me that? Or you know what I'm saying? You start to kind of compare and have those thoughts or whatever, right? But then at the same time, you go back home and it's like, well, dang, I'm kind of thankful that I have some sort of structure, or
Yeah.
yeah, the way things are, maybe that's the way it should be, right? You kind of like double take. It's that double edged sword that kind of went through my mind growing up at times for certain things. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's an interesting viewpoint to look at because when you're a kid, you don't really realize the decisions that you know parents or guardians make, but it could be for the right or wrong reasons at
Did
times.
Did you ever feel like there was a point in time, throughout your time trying to figure out who you are, where you were like battling with your parents? And before you go, the
Yeah.
only reason why I asked that is because my mother, and my father as well, like I
Mhm.
always grew up going to church every
Of
Sunday.
course.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And on the weekdays, like I didn't want to go to like choir practice.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't want to like, hang out with the church kids and I don't know, be a part of like the church groups and
Mhm.
nothing against the church. Like
Yeah, I know what you
I
mean.
ain't saying this like I'm not a Christian, y'all. I definitely am a Christian.
Right.
I still go to church to this day, but for me, it was just like that was like not the
Yeah.
thing that I used to do. And I battled with my mom
Mhm.
specifically a lot because of the fact that I wanted to, be outside, play sports, like get into all of those hobbies.
Yeah.
And I battled with my mom because my mom wanted me to like be in that space. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like I said, like again, I asked the question to you is just like where do you ever felt like you ever had a time where you just were battling with your parents because you knew what you liked and then they were just trying to like put you
Yeah.
in another space?
Yeah, so I'd say the first instance is me wanting to play football. So I grew up playing baseball, and because that was my main sport, I was pretty good at it. They didn't want me to get hurt, so like that was like the first thing. But the funny part about that was, in baseball, they didn't want me to play travel ball at first because it was on a weekend
Right.
and it meaning Sunday, so they didn't want me to like not go to church. So that was like a whole battle in itself. Like I get it. But at the same time, like if I want to get to where I want to go, like
Hmm.
this is a necessity. Similar to like an AAU thing, but that's a whole nother story for how AAU is conducted today in today's day and age. But yeah, I think that was one battle, like being able to play travel baseball.
Yeah.
Just because of that dynamic of no, we have to do this on Sundays. Like there's nothing else going on. I think that was a little bit of a back and forth growing up in that era. And then I think once I got to high school, I think it was weird. It was, you're a freshman. I wasn't really doing anything like going out or stuff like that. It's in sophomore year, all these girls started having these like Sweet 16 parties, whatever. Going to all those, great sophomore year. Then like once I started to drive, then it became more of a restriction. I felt like once I got the keys, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that was a little like weird to me because it started to feel like they were more overprotective. So it's like, why are you doing this? So I think just at that time it was a not really liking the authoritativeness as I got older because it was like maybe you should be pulling back a little. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's those are I guess those are my examples of
Yeah, no, I mean
yeah.
for sure. I mean, and we clearly me and you we both had like loving
Of
parents.
course, yeah, hell yeah,
I mean that dynamic is a blessing,
yeah,
right?
for
To
sure,
have mom and dad in the house. I have my grandma there too,
yeah,
sister. That dynamic was a blessing to kind of just have mom and dad in the crib. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Which is not something that's like super common in this day and age. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And I know like they always wanted the best for me. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah,
Uh, but I knew what I liked.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? And I think I got to a point where I just wanted to explore those interests. Like, you know, you have you're talking about like playing baseball and wanting to shift to football,
mm,
but like me, I was like playing basketball, trying to get like the support of my parents to
mm.
like push me in the spaces that I needed to grow as like a
That's
young
real.
athlete.
Yeah, I
You
think
know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
I see what you're saying there. It's almost like I was already there of where I wanted to be, and in
Yeah.
one form of a sport to grow to be an athlete, you're trying to get your parents to like I actually have like I want to do this. Like,
Yeah, like I was
follow
trying.
me.
Yeah, like and like I said, I don't say any of this stuff with regret. Like
Oh yeah, no, of
I'm
course.
happy to
Yeah,
be
yeah,
where
yeah.
I'm at in my life now. But like I remember being a kid, like man,
Being mad and frustrated.
yeah, because I'm just like, damn, like I want to play for this AAU team. Like I want to be able to like get more sneakers to
Yeah,
play ball. Like I want to go to practice. These camps are here. I want you to like help me get into these
yep.
camps. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I didn't have that. You know what I'm saying? So like, yeah, I knew what I wanted, but obviously as a kid, there's always going to be some level of restriction there, right? Even to this day,
But your parents not are from states, correct?
what my parents they're from Haiti. You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
So
So
do you
yeah, you're
think
right.
that played a role in
Oh yeah,
not wanting you to go the
yeah.
athletic
Yeah.
route or like maybe trying to force something else on your hand?
I don't know if that played a role in me not going the athletic route, but I think it definitely played a role in like my entire upbringing. Right? They did a great job with me.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? They weren't bad parents at all. They were great parents,
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying? But obviously they had their way of raising you based on what was best fit for them.
For sure.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Not best fit for them, excuse me, best fit for what they thought you should be based on how they grew up. You know what I'm saying? So they definitely did a good job. But there was times as a kid where like I knew who I was and
Yeah.
I just was like, man, I want y'all to like help me invest
Yeah.
into being this best version of myself. So
Were you able ever to decipher anything socially from your younger years that you were like, I don't think this is my crowd or like this is my space? More so, I don't know, let's say like youth ages, 7 to like 13 or 12, preteen age. Like, were you able to decipher any of those things or thoughts, or were you just kind of like happy go lucky? You kind of hang with anybody?
you said 7 to 12 or
Yeah, 7 to 12, 7 to 12, that age, if you were able to decipher. I know
not
that's like a while ago,
N-
but
not 7 to 12, but I will tell you that I think it got to a point in like I'm gonna say like my middle school slash high school time where like
mhm,
there's cliques in school. Like
of course,
there's
yeah.
like a super popular clique, there's an athletic clique, there's a clique that's not so popular. There's like cliques from different education focuses. Like
Mhm,
me per se, I didn't want to be like a part of the clique that everybody knew you, everybody wanted to talk to
mhm,
you, like everybody wanted to be your friend. Like I definitely didn't want to be
yeah,
in that clique because I didn't want that much attention socially. Like
mhm,
you know what I'm saying? I liked just being low key and being just myself, which is a little
yeah.
bit of what I am today
Right, right,
still.
right, right,
Like
right.
I don't want to be the person, and like I said, I've been like this since I was a kid. Like I don't want to be the person that's like all up in everybody's face. I
Yeah,
don't want 30, 100 people to know me. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just I just want the people that know me to know me and then like, appreciate me for who I am. Always enjoyed like the social spaces I allowed myself to be in. But I never wanted to be like in the extra like popular, you know what I'm saying? Like all these kids, and everybody knew all these kids. Everybody wanted to go sit with these kids at lunch, or I didn't
yeah,
want to be there. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'd go sit at the end of the table with my friends and then where there was not a lot of noise being made or not that much attention being put on. So you know uh socially, yeah, that's
gotcha.
how I've been.
Yeah, nah, and you've already touched on, but that's why I kind of wanted to ask to see if any of those things translated to present day, right?
Right.
Like to see if, you know, if those experiences socially is kind of how you are today, and you touched on that. What about certain words or ways people talked that necessarily, if you can remember, triggered you in a certain way, whether it's like your parents, if they would say something towards you, sister, sibling, friends, if they just say something, it just triggered you automatically back then, if you could remember, like if it was just pressing where it was like, all right, like I'm not
I,
rocking with this.
I don't know if it was words
Or
that
actions, it could be actions
I don't
too.
know if it was words that
Yeah,
triggered me, but definitely actions. Like
yeah.
even to this day, like even to this day, I'm the kind of guy like I really don't raise my voice at people.
Yeah,
I'm like really okay with like just talking
yeah, I've never
to
actually really heard
people and
you.
then like having like a responsible conversation.
Yeah,
I'm not the kind of guy that just like I'm not gonna jump and insult you right out the back. You
yeah,
know what I'm saying? I'm not the kind of guy that's gonna just start like becoming very combative with you. So like ever since I was a kid, if you yell at me, you're gonna piss me off. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because
yeah,
I
yeah.
felt like there was never a need for that. So I definitely clashed in that space a lot with my parents. From them just yelling at me and me being like, bro, you don't have to yell at me. Like, we can talk. I can tell you what happened. Like there'd be times in high school I would come home from basketball practice really late. And I was at basketball practice, right? And instead of like having a conversation, my mom asking me like, "Why are you at basketball practice so late?"
Why are
Whatever.
you home late?
Man, I just come home and she just start yelling at me. Like, you know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? And like I said, it's translated to this day, present time. Like, I really don't like when nobody yell at me. I don't feel like that is warranted at all. Like, we can speak. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like, we don't have to like get into anything like crazy. I don't have to come out the side of my neck. I don't duck smoke, so please don't yell at me because I'm not gonna duck smoke. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
So
right.
like that's me to this to present day. Um so yeah, definitely when I was a kid, that's something
Yeah.
I struggled with, like trying to like manage my emotions
Hmm.
when like people would just raise their voice at me. Like like I was a good kid in class, but if my teacher started yelling at me, I'd probably walk out the class. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Because I didn't want to get suspended, so I'd probably take a day of CSI because you're yelling at me, and I don't want you to like yell at me at all. Yeah, that's me. That's me. How about you?
Yeah, there's a couple things. I'm gonna go a different route. Like growing up, I used to hate when stuff was just like disorganized. Like when I say this, like if we're playing a pickup game and then you start arguing about a foul call for like 10 minutes, like, bro, why are we like just giving the ball?
Yeah,
Like it's like we're not playing NBA finals, you know what I'm saying? Or we're in the classroom and it's just teachers trying to get stuff going and it's just like chaotic. That used to just piss me off. And then that made me snap on whoever is like disrupting the class or
yeah,
if we're playing a game, it's like, bro, what are you doing? Like that used to really irritate me. So the like translates to this day, like if I'm on a flight and a dude's not in his seat, like when we need to take off, like what are you doing?
oh, you have small icks like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's stuff like that. Like just comply and keep it moving. I think those are examples of things as far as like words and stuff like that. If we're talking parents or just anybody in general, we're having a conversation and you're getting your point off, you're still getting your point off,
right.
and I started to make my point, and it's my turn to go,
And you cut
and you
me
cut
off.
me off. Like, come on.
Oh
Yeah, I think
yeah,
that's like a real big trigger because like if I just let you talk for 10, 15 minutes and now I go and I get 1 minute off and
yeah.
you jump in, like, nah, like
Oh yeah,
I think that's a real big
yeah. I'm.
ick of mine that's been like that since I was younger and
Oh yeah.
definitely has translated present day.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, as you grow up, you're always gonna like recognize certain things that you didn't really like. I mean, for sure, I could agree with you
Mhm.
that I don't like when people cut me off in the middle of me talking. Un, well, at least if we're having like a really important conversation, it's not like if we're having a important conversation where it can turn into probably a heated exchange,
Yeah.
right? It's a delicate conversation, and then you
Mhm.
start like cutting me off, it's gonna get me upset. But I'm okay with having like conversation or whatever, and then you think of something and you want to talk. Like I'm cool with that. Just obviously don't make it like a frequent thing, right? Where you're not giving me
Yeah.
the opportunity to speak. This organization is definitely one of the things for me. I like my clothes folded. You know what I'm saying? In the drawers, so on and so forth. And I'm just giving you an example. Whenever I see somebody else's drawer and shit's not folded, that shit drive me crazy. 'Cause I'm just
Yeah.
like, yo, this don't fly with me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So definitely this organization, I would agree with you. I wanted to get a little deeper. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Because it's just like there's a lot that goes into knowing
Of
yourself,
course, yeah.
right? But there are times where you don't know
Mhm.
who you are.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Or there's times where you're trying to figure out what space you belong in, what you like, what you want to do. And there's times where you're just like you have
The
like
thought.
the thought in your
Yeah.
head or the dream or the vision, and you can't bring it to life because you just really don't know. How do you get past a situation like that where like you're trying to evolve or who you are but you can't get past a certain level that's getting you to that peak
Mhm.
version of JB or the peak version of OD? How do people deal with that?
I don't know. I think for me personally, I think if I look at all these like milestones or transitions in my life, let's like if we're talking like age wise from grade school, middle school, high school, college, present day, like young professional, it's a mixture of knowing what you want to do in like a life or like the space you want to be in, and then also assessing like where you're currently at, and then like figuring out a plan of how to actually do that. Of like, okay, if I really want to, be in a setting where I want to be around other people who are like, let's just say entrepreneurial, for example, then I'm gonna like surround myself or go be in these spaces, right? I can't just do what I'm doing because what I'm currently doing is not in line with that. I think that's kind of like one of the biggest things for me is like if I look at each of my, milestones and transitions, um, at those various points in life, like I kind of naturally, it wasn't like a forced or like, you know, just went right into it. Like it was like a natural lateral movement,
Mhm.
um, lateral ascending movement to where I wanted to be or where I saw myself because I knew like, okay, at this stage, like I want to like put myself in these spaces. I want to be a part of, this organization. I want to be a part of, student government. I want to be a part of frat. I want to be a part of a young professionals group. And it's like I take those pieces and those steps inch by inch, and then ultimately like I'll be in those spaces. I think that's what's helped me, right? Along the way. How about you?
It's a little bit of the same, right?
Yeah.
I always look at it as like baby steps.
Yeah. Yeah.
if
Yeah.
if if I'm stuck in a situation where like I'm at a halt in my progress
Mm-hmm.
and I don't really know what's the next thing, I just think about like baby steps, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
what's the smallest thing I could do today that's gonna change the dynamic, right? What's the best thing I could do for myself today that's probably gonna allow me the ability to think freely and just like relieve me of stress in a way where I can come back tomorrow ready to like get my put my foot on the floor and get going again. I think that's been really important to me throughout just my natural growth of just figuring out where I'm at. There's been times in my life for sure. I think like with knowing myself, I've been stuck, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you why I've probably gone through those
Yeah.
times. I've probably gone through those times because of the fact that um let's say I had a plan and the plan is not going as I thought. And because of the plan not going as I thought, I didn't probably want to make shifts to the plan,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or alters to the plan. Um and then it just throughout trying to make so many changes, right? And not really trusting my process, not really understanding that I need to stick to this.
Mm-hmm.
All I run into certain situations where like I forget, I forget where I want to be. I'm gonna tell you prime example. I graduated uh FAMU, right? Spring 20,
Mm-hmm.
and I was a journalism major at the time, right? COVID year, had a lot of things lined up for myself. I thought I was gonna be able to kind of like step out of the space of, being a student journalist and jumping into like being a journalist professionally, right? Um, and because of COVID, I think I started to alter my plan a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
I started to make different decisions. I started to apply to different jobs. I started to pretty much not do some of the things that I had planned for myself.
Right.
Like I knew who I was. You know what I'm saying? I knew what I liked. But then something happened, and instead of figuring out a way to make the plan work, I
You
started
altered.
looking at a
Right.
different angle and then like let me just drop this and do something else, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, I'll be honest, I went about a year and a half, a couple of years, just not really knowing like how I would get back to this creative space.
That's real. Yeah.
Like I didn't know. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? I was working the job, working in a career that was so opposite to what I've been training myself for a really long time, and I didn't know. And what got me back here is just pretty much taking the baby steps,
Yeah.
right? Fast forward, into like doing small things like UGC content and now like pushing this podcast. Like now I'm
Yeah.
able to be back in like the space that I trained myself to
Yeah.
be in for a really long time, right? But all of that happened through baby steps.
Right. But I was gonna say, what was the initial click, if you will, that you're realizing, okay, like I wanna get back to what I
The
intended to do. Like what was that initial
the initial click is that sometimes when you have a plan and
Mhm.
you've been thinking about that plan for so long, right? And before you could actually hit the finish line to the plan, you just walk away from it. It's always something in the back of your head that's telling you like, damn, we just left. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
We went through some hard times and we just left a really good plan. We didn't figure it out, nothing. We just left a really good plan. And the click for me, in particular to my situation,
Right.
was like when you just realize you weren't happy.
That'll do it. That'll
You
do
know what
it
I'm
for sure.
saying?
Yeah.
When you
Yeah.
when you realize you wasn't happy with whatever it is that you were doing, like
Mhm.
it clicked. Like
Yeah.
what made you smile?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then you got to think about the shit that you did in the past that was making you feel great. And how do you get back to that? You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? So for me, it was like for sure. Like I realized wasn't happy with the current situation that I was putting myself in.
Mhm.
No, I wasn't broke. No, like I wasn't out of tune with anything, but I just I wasn't really that happy. You know what I'm saying? So I had to kind of like make a shift and figure out like, damn, this is how I'm gonna get back into doing, these things again and getting back into this creative space. So, you know, I'm here now and I happen. But for you, like you ever ran into a situation like that?
Between the COVID year and like the end of college, I think it's just like you get in this routine of like this is how things are of just going out, having a good time, going to class, all that. But I think there was a moment where it's just like I remember one day I just was tired of like just everything, of just the same old, same old. I remember I left my phone at the crib, no technology, no nothing. I just walked. Like I walked like
Oh
like
wow.
bro, I walked like 7, 8 miles, bro, just by myself. Just because I was thinking like, man, like if I want to change how I've been doing things lately. Like, and when I say doing things, like I wasn't, working out, I wasn't running, I wasn't going to the gym, I wasn't like actively playing sports. It just was just hanging out, kicking it, class, same thing. And obviously I think part of what was the cause of that was that COVID time period era where there wasn't really much to do, um, socially wise, but still I was out of my like normal like what I love to do, right?
Right.
In those like being around nature, being outside. So I just walked and I was like, all right, like every day I'm gonna get up at a certain time, go outside, go on a walk, or run, what have you, and kind of go from there. And then building that into my everyday routine, it just helped me feel better because when I run, it's a sense of it's me versus me, right? Like I know the time I want, I know what pace I have to run at, and there's a feeling of accomplishment once you get it, you're done, whatever mile mark that is, or whatever total mile that is. So I think that was definitely a period of I'm trying to switch what I've currently been doing to better myself
Right.
mentally, physically, spiritually, the whole nine. Because just doing the same routine, I just felt like I just was in a repeating cycle that I knew that wasn't good. I think that was definitely a a time period where I was struggling to figure out like I know myself and I know this wasn't what was productive and good for me. So I had to make that switch and after I did that it was all good.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
At that time.
Right. I want to still keep it here, obviously,
Yeah.
in the knowing yourself space.
Mhm.
Bonus piece here, right? Because we're both two social people,
Of course. Yeah, yeah.
right?
He said bonus piece.
Um, we've changed our social dynamic, I think, over the years,
Of
right? We're
course.
we're
Yeah.
still young. It's gonna continue to change,
Yeah.
right? How do you know when you need to make a change socially? Like what you like to do or whatever it is that you were interested in, the group that you be a part of. How do
Mhm.
you know when it's that time to make a switch?
I think one is like when you're out somewhere, like with whoever, and you're in that social setting, and you ask yourself like, why am I here? Like I don't know. I've done that a few times. Like I thought like I like to just go out all the time, go out at night, whatever. And it just been many times like, why am I here right now? You know what I'm saying? Like I can only do this so much to where going out at night is not just for me. It's not. It's the same. It could become the same thing over and over again. And so I think after specifically being up here for a couple years now, it's more of I love the day party time activities, or I love like just being outside during the daytime,
Right.
and that's my vibe as far as like a social scene, right? I think that's the first thing. The second thing is as it relates to people. I think you know on a social setting when there's no balance between the socialness and then the personable side. Like, yeah, it's cool to, you know, go out, have a good time, do different activities. But if there's no actual balance for me between us having like, personable conversations within, enjoying ourselves, then that's where it's kind of like, I don't know.
I'm gonna keep it all the way real, bro.
Yeah.
Money matters.
Of course. Yeah. Hell yeah. Hell
Like
yeah.
money matters, bro. Like it got to a point, clearly I'm still in my 20s, but it got to a point where like I had to kind of pay attention to my finances and see like how much
Yeah.
money I was spending on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
And that's it's okay to be like, bro, you know yourself. You better know your pockets too, bro.
Yeah.
You
Go
feel
go
me?
out, get one drink, and that's
Cause
it.
yeah,
Cut it
bro,
off.
there was a point in time where like you know how it is when you're in college, bro. They got these what 4 for $10 drink deals on a Friday, bro,
Yeah.
at GVO, bro. You,
Yeah.
you remember
Yeah.
GVO, bro?
Yeah.
4 for 10,
Yeah.
come 4 drinks, bro, for ten
Yeah.
dollars, bro. And then you come out here, one drink
30,
about
40.
$30,
Yeah.
bro. So it's just like you, I just had to change myself, I think, socially, and kind of like figure out a way to still enjoy myself, or a way to still be socially active, but at the same time being financially
Of
responsible.
course. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, bro? Because that is big. People who are gonna watch this are gonna like. There's probably gonna be an epiphany moment for people because it's just like, bro, you gotta know your pockets sometimes, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I can't pop bottles every day. I can't be around 30, 40 people, club hopping, bar to
Bar hopping.
bar.
Yeah.
I can't go eat out every
Yeah,
day.
that's a big one
Like,
right there.
I
Yeah.
I just I genuinely can't do that. But I could probably do it, once a week, once every couple weeks.
Of course.
I
Yeah.
might humble myself and stay away from that shit for multiple weeks and then go back and then have a good time. But for me, it wasn't even just a New York thing. I just think once my
In
bills,
general.
yeah,
Yeah.
I just think once real bills started kicking in, car notes, insurance, rent, so on and so forth, I had to kind of figure out like, man, like I need to know who I am financially before I can start, running around going crazy. And within that, like, yeah, some of the people in my social space changed too. Like, you
Mm.
know what I'm saying? Because I wasn't out with the club, the bottle popping homies anymore. I wasn't. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? I wasn't out with the people that were like going to like extravagant areas and spending a surplus amount of money.
Yeah.
I turned into the guy that wanted to keep things really calm.
Hmm.
And I like this version of myself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Nah,
saying?
I think that's important. You touched on a point about, knowing your pockets. And I think in finding other, you know, just being conscious about those things. And I think with that, like, since I've been out here, it's like, there's a lot of stuff to do that don't require spending money at all, that you can
Oh
still have a
yeah.
good time, enjoy yourself,
Yeah.
catch a vibe, you know what I'm saying? All those things. I think that's important as well, to your point about, the finance piece. And I think it's okay to just be like, nah, I'm not going out this weekend. I think as I've gotten older, like people who are on the same type of wave, like understanding, they realize, oh, you going out this weekend? Nah, okay, I get it, cool, and it's like no issue, and that's great because it's like you understand exactly what I'm talking about. It's not that I don't have it, just being just smart. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying in general. So that's a great point. I
I'm
like
going
that.
out
Okay.
this weekend though. I keep it real with you, bro. Like,
At the time we're shooting, this is Juneteenth weekend, ladies and gentlemen.
yeah, bro. I got some new shit in the mail. You
Yeah.
feel me? Drip looking good, bro.
P.
It's a good weekend, bro. Like the sun is out.
Yeah. No. Of
New
course.
York is
Yeah.
getting sunny now
Look,
and
summertime, bro.
80
Best times
degrees
in the city.
outside. You feel me? You see, I got the guns out. Oh, damn, that was big. But you feel me? But nah, like, yeah, I'm going out this weekend for sure, bro. I'm I'm
Yeah.
I'm kicking it this weekend. Looking forward to it. But yeah, it's going back to what you're saying. Just gotta know who you are, bro. Gotta know who
Facts.
you are.
Facts. And I think this is a good segue. What about times that you thought that that was you, right? So you thought that you were one way, that you liked certain things, but like you didn't like it at all, like at all, or you thought that you knew what you liked and it just wasn't it whatsoever.
I'm gonna let you take this one before I start talking because I'm still thinking of a time where like I didn't understand like what I liked, or that I understood that I liked something, and once I tried it, I realized I hated it. I don't think I've been in a space that way yet. Maybe it's gonna take some time for it to come back to me. But what you think?
I thought I loved to kind of just. I mean, I think go out. I think that was like you kind of already touched on. I thought I loved to just go out, have a good time, but like you just peel back the layers. It's like
Like no,
nah, not like that.
I
Like
don't like
it's
this.
like I'm don't get me wrong, I'm social, of course,
Yeah,
but it just really everything you kind of just touched on in the sense of one, the finances, but two, just do I want to be around this many people every single weekend? Like what else could I be doing with my time? I think that was a really big thing for me. Like I thought that was the move essentially. Or I thought that was the motion, quote unquote.
yeah.
But nah, like it really wasn't whatsoever. Yeah, I don't know. I think we kind of touched on it already, but putting it in that context, I think that helps too.
When I was a lot younger, I thought I really liked to just be out
Yeah.
all the time, and I don't. And but there's another space too. Like I thought I loved the nature till I
Mhm.
started going on hikes and mosquitoes started biting the fuck out my
Oh, so you
ass.
don't like you don't like outdoors for real?
I like outdoors, bro, but it has to be like the right kind of setting. I don't think I could be somewhere where like the floor is too rocky and nah, I'm dead ass
Yeah,
serious, bro.
yeah,
Like I don't think I'm like that much of an outdoorsy
yeah.
guy
Okay, that's interesting.
as I thought I was. Like I could walk around Central Park now. You feel me?
Yeah,
But if you take me around the dirt trail,
you not. That's not it.
I'm not fucking with that shit, bro. I'll be very honest, bro. So like, I think that's a point where I realized like, okay, I really don't like it. I used
So when you go on trips, right? So like when you go to like Colombia, DR, Puerto Rico, like when you do you do? Have you ever done the excursions of
yeah.
like zip lining? You're in the forest, like you don't like that type of stuff. Like
I don't like climbing on the rocks.
wow, I
I
did not know
I don't
this.
like climbing on the rocks, bro. I don't like climbing on like just shit where I gotta hold on to something to take an extra step, bruh. Like I'm bro, my equilibrium, balance, all that shit has to be perfect, bro. Like the pavement
Yeah,
has to be smooth. Like I'm not a fan of just like walking somewhere and then out of nowhere, bro, I gotta like reach over this way and put my
yeah.
leg in another area. Like if you take me to a nature trail like that, I swear to God, I'm not gonna like it, bro.
So what about heights? Are you like? Does that include heights too, or is that like a
The hike better have a smooth path, bro. If
no heights? Like scared of heights? Like how
oh
tall?
heights,
Yeah,
I mean, I think everybody's scared of heights. If you don't got anything restricting you, from like busting your ass, 15 floors down, I mean,
yeah.
everybody's scared of heights. But
That's
I
real.
mean, looking down doesn't kill me. Like, I could look down. I don't care where I'm at. I could be in the moon and looking down. Like, I'm good with that. I don't have any issues with that for sure. But
Mm,
yeah, like nature, no.
yeah.
No, like you feel me? Y'all tell me, yeah, let's go to the park. Better be a bunch of trees out there. Sun better not be like blistering all over me, bro. I'm not having that, bro.
Is that gonna make your mood? Is that gonna shift your mood? Like,
Yeah, because if it's hot, I'm sweating. I got whatever my outfit is for the day, and it's drenched at this point. I'm sticky.
yeah,
I'm
okay.
not enjoying myself. It's not happening.
Okay, so when did you like really realize like knowing yourself that this is something that you did not like? Like what stage in life were you like, nah, this is I don't like these things.
Oh, definitely college, bro.
Oh, okay.
De-
I was
def-
about to say,
de-
as a kid, there's no way you're not outside like
definitely
that.
definitely college, bro. Like taking hikes and like probably heading to like Wakulla, the Wakulla
Yeah, of
Springs
course.
back in
Yeah,
Tally. Yeah, heading in those areas, bro. I realized like, oh hell no, like
yeah.
I don't like any of this shit. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely like I'm still out
Mm-hmm.
right during the daytime because I still like the sun. I like the idea of it just being bright and you being able to just enjoy like light, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because darkness is really depressing, right? Which is why people go through seasonal depression all the goddamn time when time changes. But yeah, nah, for me it was like college.
That's very specific. That's very niche. So what about the opposite? What about something or examples of encounters or activities, what have you, that you thought you didn't like, but ended up like it wasn't so bad. Like I kind of rock with this. I like this vibe. I like this thing. Like it's something that you kind of at first glance or initial approach, you were like, nah, hell nah. And then like it ended
You
up
you
being
know
you
one
rock
thing
with it.
I tell you this one thing I'm starting to get around is like being a foodie.
Okay.
Growing up, I wasn't really like I wasn't a big foodie. Like I was
You were
okay.
eating the same things?
Yeah, I was okay with like putting the PB and J sandwich in the toaster and letting it do what it needed to do. Like the protein, the bread is gonna fill me up. I was good with that. Like you know what I'm saying. I'm good with leftovers. Like I was always good with a nice home cooked meal. Like I never wanted to like just do a bunch of shit. And I mean, yeah, over the past few years, I've grown into like wanting to try different foods,
Yeah.
like Thai food, different kind of Asian foods, Vietnamese food, Korean food. I'm just not getting to like trying shit like duck.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. Like I didn't grow up doing that, and
Yeah.
I enjoy it. Like
Mhm.
the fresh Mediterraneans or like just completely different styles of food, other than like Haitian food. Um, yeah, I've started to enjoy that for sure. You know what I'm saying? So knowing yourself is definitely in a bunch of different
Yeah.
avenues for sure. But for me, it's food.
I think for me, we kind of touched on this before we started rolling, but I think as recently, like within the last 6, 7 months, is like shopping, like clothes
Yeah,
wise. I think part of that is because one, like I used to hate going in certain stores and there's shit just everywhere, like stuff misplaced or it just is a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? And I kind of like I better just order this online type deal. But like the experience of like getting pieces, putting fits together, I think I've kind of like got into that more. I think you definitely had an influence for sure.
yeah,
Like you and some other folks definitely had
it's
influences
great.
on that. Yo, nah, I
Yeah,
definitely think like you and some other folks,
yeah,
my for sure. Like just other people in general had like influence on that. But like I said, like when I was younger, like, you go back to school shopping, my parents, you get a certain limit or whatever
yeah,
on this amount of shirts, some pants, shorts, whatever, 2 pairs of shoes, you know what I'm saying? But it just be hella people all the time in the store. That was one turn off. And then disorganization, going back to
yeah.
disorganization. If your store is disorganized, I'm walking right out.
Right,
Or
right.
if it's not clearly labeled, I'm walking right out.
Yeah,
And I've kind of flipped the narrative since I've been up here for sure. Because I mean,
yeah.
it's New York, so
I I
yeah,
I I wanted to touch on that because that style is one of my favorite
yeah,
topics, man.
of
When we talk
course,
about fashion, I think
dripster.
we can go forever. I definitely I'm a style enthusiast. I'm gonna say that. How does it make you feel, bro? Like when you get just a fresh pair of clothes, fresh pair of shoes. Like
Yeah,
what
nah,
what was that? What is that? When you talk about knowing yourself, right? What
yeah.
does that do?
I mean, I can't deny it's a good feeling. It's a boatload of confidence that you just walking
Right.
with, like you got it on in your mind, and nobody can't tell you nothing different. Because you believe like yourself, me, that like it's on. You feel what I'm saying? Like you're confident in whatever the fit is, because you put that together.
Mm-hmm.
Like whether somebody else may have that shirt or those pants or even the shoes, well, they don't got it on like you got it on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think that just heightens the level of confidence, swag, what have you, when you walk, how you move. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, straight up. What about you?
Not for, I mean,
I mean, I don't know.
it's you basically said everything that needed to be said, and I could just add it to it just a tad bit. But when you talk about knowing yourself, style is a part of that too, right?
Yeah.
And it's important for everybody, but specifically, I'm gonna say like young men, for you to kind of like get into like the best version of knowing yourself,
Mm.
you definitely need to be confident, right? Because
Yeah.
not having confidence is going to it's going to halt a lot of situations where you're not going to know who you are. You know what I'm saying? Because you
Yeah.
just don't have the confidence to explore that. You know what I'm
Facts.
saying?
That's real.
Um so like for me, style is like a big confidence booster for me.
And
You know what I'm saying? It helps me kind of just like feel like the best version of myself.
mhm.
And if I'm the best version of myself, I think I'll always have like a clear space to just think and process anything.
Yeah, and going back to your point earlier, in the show when you talked about, you were trying to piece together, you were in the working space where, you were so far removed from what you actually wanted to do, right? And I think for me, in a similar lens, and this is going to correlate with the dressing and having that fresh fit. Is, I was in a space where, I was really trying to figure things out, like what am I doing next, right? And I was in like I said like a low phase at that point, and just putting on like a clean fit, going to like an interview or putting on a clean fit to meet ups with some people while in that phase of trying to figure out the next thing.
Right.
Awesome and confident booster, right? Like I remember last summer we were at a day party when Dex, Sip, and somebody else came up, right? And put on a nice fit, seen the guys, and it was just an immediate confidence booster because, you know, just having that stylistic approach added to me, you know what I'm saying? And I'm going out, automatic confidence
Makes you
booster. Like it makes you feel good. Like you can't even deny that. So no, that's a great point.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta invest in your wardrobe, bro. That's
Yeah, the facts.
the way you look is gonna get you into rooms.
Yeah.
That's gonna help you figure out yourself, beyond and beyond. So that's definitely important, right? You talk about confidence, right? We've been talking about style. We've been talking about shit that we like, that we figured out we didn't like.
Yeah.
The whole conversation of knowing yourself, right? I think knowing yourself is essentially trusting yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Self-trust, probably one of the more important things you could always have
Mm-hmm.
as a person. You know what I'm saying? And not trusting yourself is always going to delay your process.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because if you don't believe in what you do, how you gonna do it? You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? How you gonna do it, and why would you do it if you don't believe it?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like, I guess the question to you, when it comes to the conversation of like, trusting yourself and knowing yourself, like, do you see a direct correlation with that? Like, and at least why?
I think you have to know yourself to trust yourself, if that makes sense. Because if you don't really understand whose you are, then you're not gonna have that like confidence. You're not gonna have that just ability to ultimately trust yourself. And you know, I think this kind of goes into the point I wanted to also touch on, but in ever so evolving, right? As we continue to evolve, we continue to learn more about ourselves within the process. So that word evolving could be in a multitude of different layers and facets, whether it's, socially, spiritually, mentally, what have you, physically even. And as you grow in the evolving space, you start to, trust yourself more each and every baby steps, as you said. That's
Right.
that's how I take it.
And then also think too, there's another aspect to it, right? If you don't trust yourself, then you got to figure out ways to get there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think therapy, that's important, right?
Mhm.
When it comes to like that, the whole, you know, the whole evolution of just figuring yourself out.
Yeah,
I
that's a good
think if
point.
you're struggling with that, speaking to a specialist is always gonna help.
Mhm.
Me, every now and then I touch base with a therapist just to, have conversation, build relationships with different ones. And then we just go through we process different emotions and we figure out what we like and what we don't like, and we come back to the table and, just always talk about, if the practices work on a week in and week out basis. So, I think that's important. I think people need to like pray more,
Mhm.
to whatever it is that they decide that, that they want to serve, what
Mhm.
higher power they want to serve. I think people need to pray more for sure when it comes to the conversation of like trusting yourself, right? Because,
Mhm.
a higher power is always going to give you an answer. And a lot of the other stuff we talked about,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like just making that like small effort on a day in and day
Mhm.
out basis to improve something. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Wardrobe, try out that new thing, the baby step that you needed to take here and there. Everybody needs to go through it. You know what I'm saying?
What about just for you personally about how you're, continuing to evolve each and every day, present day, about knowing yourself? Like, how does that look like for you? Like, if we're look like real time right now, like, how does that look present day of how you're continuing to evolve, learning more about OD? Like, who is OD?
I mean, basically everything we talked about,
Yeah.
man. It's just like staying confident. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Taking baby steps on a
Mhm.
daily basis. I just mentioned therapy.
Yeah.
And then just like that whole aspect of just trusting who I am. You know what I'm
Facts.
saying? That's gonna always like allow me to, like, know what direction I need to be in. Being self assessive, I guess, is a if that's a word, is important, right?
Yeah.
Because you always got to be able to look back and pay attention to some of the shit that you did, either good or bad, and figure out how to replicate it, or what you need to drop and pick back up to try again.
Yeah, and going to the point of therapy, like I've never gone to like a licensed professional. I probably should, just to talk to a professional expert. But I think what really helps me and continue to know myself is talking my thoughts out loud to other people. One example, like yourself, of course, I don't want to say that this is therapy, but this is definitely a form of therapy in a sense, because I'm like speaking these thoughts out loud that I've had, that
Yeah.
when you're asking me certain questions, I haven't really thought about these either ever or in quite some time, right? Because we're talking about growth, childhood, and passion. So like I think all those things culminate into one, and really help knowing me even more
Right.
and like progressing for the future. So definitely just talking to close confidants and people that I trust, people who I value their opinion. I think that really helps in that process as well.
Yeah, I think all of that is processing emotions.
Yeah,
Whether you
facts.
decide to do it by yourself, or whether you decide to do it with a professional, or whether you decide to do it with somebody that you trust around you. Um, yeah, processing emotions is important. You know what I'm saying? I think that's a part of the inner child.
Yeah,
Being a part of the inner child is
yeah,
being able to process shit. You know what I'm saying?
facts.
And if you're not taking the time to process any of the aspects in your life that need processing, then you're
Yeah.
just you always gonna screw yourself over, bro.
But we appreciate everybody tuning in. Episode 3 of the Inner Child Podcast. Be sure to follow us on Instagram, TikTok at Official Inner Child. Also, like, subscribe on our YouTube platforms at Official Inner Child, and Spotify as well. Till next time, and don't forget to embrace your inner child. Peace.